So I want to know, like I say, besides drinking 20 cups of coffee, because you're scared to death, you don't want to go to sleep, because you're scared. You know, no dose, no 5-hour energy. It's your last night on earth. So what you gonna do? Minister, what you gonna do? And you know, of course, I try to minister to them a lot of times they don't want to hear it. But you know, and I told them, I said, you know, if you die in this condition that you're in, I said, I ain't gonna see you no more. And that's basically what you was saying. And it really, I ain't never really told him that. I said, I ain't gonna see you no more. I said, because we're going to different places. And I think it really messed him up when I told him that. And it really stayed on me heavy too, because I wasn't really, you know, anticipating on saying that, but I just let him know, and I ain't gonna see you no more. Because we ain't going to the same place. You feel me? So, write these scriptures down and then we'll get started. Genesis 12, 1 through 3. These next four are going to be in Genesis. Genesis 17, 1 through 8. Genesis 21, 1 through 13. And Genesis 1 as well, 26 to 30. Say 31, 26 to 31. And the Psalms, the 8th Psalm, verse 3 to 9. Romans 12, 1 and 2.
Say that again. My mind went from, you said Psalms.
Chapter 8, 3 through 9.
8, 3 through 9.
Matthew 22, 36 through 38. Mark is the promise and the problem. The promise and the problem. That's big right there. The promise and the problem. We're going to be looking into the Isaac Ishmael account. The promise and the problem. And the first thing I want to start off before we get into it, if you really probe into the nature of man, and when I say nature, I'm referring to his character and his behavior. If you carefully probe into man's nature, realistically, what you'll find throughout history is that something's really going on with man, because he appears to, you know, possess, you know, this thirst to possess, to conquer things and stuff. And realistically, when you think about it, you say, why has he got this thirst to conquer? Well, if you think about it, when you look at the scriptures in the beginning of creation, God, he gives him instructions, and he says, you know, you have dominion. And then he tells him, you know, be fruitful and multiply, replenish. You know, so realistically, he gets this thirst, because remember we talked about the rise of consciousness, right? And you know, that's the ability to think, you know, to perceive, to contemplate, to doubt, you know, to affirm. And he gets, you know, this thirst from God. You know, it's a desire. But when you really look at the scriptures, this thirst to conquer, and when God tells him to subdue, notice in the scripture, in fact, your fellow man. So what happened is he got this thirst to conquer, but God didn't say nothing about conquer your fellow man. See, a lot of times folk don't really catch that, but he's got dominion to subdue, you know, everything, you know, like you say, I'm going to make you, you're going to be ruled over my creation. That's what God is telling man, when He giving them the instructions. And when He created them, you're going to be ruled over this. So really, when we look at it, something's going on. So if you think about it, we coming face to face when we look at the history of man and his behavior and that appetite to do what he's doing. We coming face to face and we see, there we go again, trying to, figure out what's going on with the dichotomy of man. Remember we said the dichotomy, he got two parts. He's got the spirit and the flesh. So that's the dichotomy, two parts. That's what that means. So we face to face with the complexities of the dichotomy of man, of that spirit and the flesh.
Can you pronounce that word?
The dichotomy.
Yeah.
D-I-C-H-O-T-O-M-Y. Dichotomy. Dichotomy. That just means two parts. So when you look at, you look at the makeup of man, he's got two parts. Still make that. He wasn't doing all that, so he was good. So when you look at man, you say in the spirit, he's significant. But on the other side of the spectrum, we're talking about the flesh, fashion dust, right? Because God breathes his life into the dust. So in the flesh, he's insignificant and he's transitory, which means, he's like a vapor. He's fleeting. He's passing on. He ain't going to be here but a second in the flesh. And that's all because of sin. So some things are working against each other right there, again and again. You feel me? So when we talk about this Isaac Ishmael account, now what started out as a geographical feud in the Middle East, see now it's got global implications. We got problems everywhere now. And it's all because realistically of what some particular folk think. And realistically, God don't really care what they think about what he done already established. Because God tells Abraham, in the beginning of the Abrahamic covenant, what he tell him? Get up out of there, go to the place where I'll show you, father many nations, through thy seed, the families of the earth will be blessed. And I'm going to give you the promised son. And the promised son is Isaac. So if Isaac is the promised son, then Ishmael is a problem.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why we got the promise and the problem. Why is Ishmael a problem? Because he's conceived outside of the will of God. Getting ahead of God is just as tragic as falling behind God. And they both got serious consequences. And one thing what I really begin to see with the Muslims is that they operate in what is known as self-imposed unconsciousness. And one thing, if you notice about human beings, and this is with all human beings, not just with the Muslims, but this is with all human beings, if you ever notice, including us, humans will operate in the jurisdiction of the most dominant thought, regardless of the validity of truth in the thought. And that's what I'm talking about, the self-imposed unconsciousness, folks that's operating like that now. Not us now. But we do operate in the jurisdiction of our most dominant thought. That's with everybody. And the thing with these Muslims is they got this this error and this unbelief in the way they operate. And that's what I'm trying to really flesh out today, is that God don't care what the Muslims think about what he's already established as far as who inherits the land. Not the call boy, he ain't the butler. You don't pull God like the rip card just when you need to know. God operates on the principles of who he is. And it ain't up for no debate, no vote, nothing. God has already established it, and it's the Jews. Now let's look at what God and is the Jews. Because Isaac is the promise, not Ishmael. And we're going to see that in a minute. So when I talked about that self-imposed unconsciousness, see, now you got a non-cerebral approach to the actions. And what I'm saying, ain't no intellect in what they're doing. You know, and when you think about it, it's opposed not only to the will of God, but it's also opposed to logic. Because he will not, talking about that boy Ishmael, he ain't getting this right here because you promised it to Isaac. He's the promised son. Isaac is the promised son. Ishmael is a problem. That's what I want you to see right here.